You're a Christian. You and I have that in common.
Indeed.
And Andrew is not of that faith at this moment, although he reacted really well when I spoke to him about Christ. And I said, there's a definite separation there. If we're right as Christians and the only way to get to eternity in heaven is through Jesus Christ, that's something you really need to explore. And have you had conversation with him on that?
Yeah, it's a conversation that I have very often. It's actually not something that I ever publicize. So me and Andrew will not sit on podcasts and have our disagreements about religion, but there certainly is a disagreement there. However, I don't think it would be very difficult to find two men who are as strong a mind as Andrew and I. So in a way, I just let him do his thing and let me do my thing. People assume because we're the Tate brothers, we get arrested together, we go to jail together, that we agree on 100% of every single world issue. We don't. We're still two individual men with our own individual lives and our individual outlooks on the way that we do things. We're not carbon copies of each other. We've just inherited lots of similar traits that we got mainly, I guess, from my father that makes us similar. But I don't, I guess, invest my time in trying to change his mind on something when I believe that the truth will be revealed to him eventually. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I know he's got a lot more years to live, hopefully, if they don't do anything stupid to us. So I let him run his path. I'll let him run his course. It's not a discussion that we have, and it certainly never turns into a heated debate. But I respect his customs. He respects mine.
Yeah.
He was at church with me on Easter a few days ago.
He did
Orthodox
come?
Christian Easter. Yeah, no, he came with me. Mm-hmm. It was beautiful. During Ramadan, I'll fast throughout the day and eat only in the evening, just out of respect for him, because I don't want to be in his face eating a sandwich. But that's just basic common courtesy and brotherly love.
Yeah. I think that's a good approach. You know, as Christians, we're not supposed to impose our faith on anybody or try to turn anybody into a Christian. It's just, it's just our obligation to share when the time is right. And, I kind of approach it that way.
Yeah, and me too, because if I have to think who turned me into a Christian, I was raised in, I guess, a slightly more religious environment, but I moved to England. I was not interested in religion for most of my life. I don't want to call myself an atheist. I don't like that word. I think it's a dirty word, and I don't want to ever brand myself with it. But back then I would have described myself as an atheist. I was a non-religious person until about 7 years ago. And when I think about the question, who convinced me to become a Christian? Nobody convinced me. Nobody convinced me. I think I moved to this beautiful Christian country. I saw the way that society was, more closely held together. You probably see this in the Italian-American community.
Yes.
You remember from growing up. And I thought, okay, there's something to this. Let me explore this myself. And it was very much an internal journey that I decided to take without somebody saying, hey, Tristan, you should be a Christian because X, Y, and Z. So just as that's the way I became a Christian, I wouldn't want to be the guy to tell anyone you need to believe this or else. I don't ever want to come across that way. So I let people run their own path, especially people I care about. I think if Andrew was making a cataclysmic mistake that was bad for our audience, bad for him, bad for me, bad for us as brothers, bad for us as a family, then it's my duty to call him out. But I mean, he's reverted to Islam. The man doesn't drink anymore. He's a lot more focused on his work. I don't see any negative side effects it's had on him. So I'm going to let him run his race. I'm going to let him live his life. He's older than me as well, so he has that little bit of older brother authority that I can't really use on him. He's
How much older?
A year and a bit.
Oh.
Like, we're almost the same age, but a year and a bit.
No, I think that's the right approach. And there's I forget the verse in the Bible where Jesus was asked, what is your role here on earth? And his response was very telling. He said, not to lose one soul for my Father. So I believe that anybody that knew Jesus at one point in time, even if they've left, they'll come back. Because I think those are very powerful words. So, but I agree with you. It's you let people do their thing, but you speak the truth when it's appropriate.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what we believe.